I know one is enough. You need to lead the light, and then everybody will follow. I think let me draw your attention to a very interesting fact. You heard Dr. Mathur and my MD Mr. Sandeep Garg spoke very passionately about acceleration of LEDs. Let me take you back before I make the presentation. I must narrate this story. Let me take back about 4 years, and in the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, nobody was talking about LED, and both Mr. Shyam Suzan and everybody we were trying to push BLY Bachat Lab Yojana to its maximum limit through the integration to the government scheme. But then something happened, and honestly, the government decided we must have LED, started talking about it. And in one of the forums we heard, and there was about 50-60 manufacturers, everybody claiming that we have a product which lasts for 100,000 hours. And being the program manager of labeling program and knowing standards, I was completely zapped, because nobody would give a guarantee of a product which he has not tested. And that led to the beginning of the era of defining, which Mr. Shyam Suzan mentioned, about defining the standard for the country, and this how 8 months we decided the standard of LEDs, the part 1 16,000 to 16,012 standard, which incorporates most of the things which we are doing today. I have been a regular feature in most of the end today. If you look at so many people talking about light emitting diode, my thought process is let's end discussion and do some action. I think what we see today on the ground floor is something where the action is actually happening, and people are definitely talking about it, because you see the whole intent of putting the standard is let there not be anybody who sells a spurious product which does not last its lifetime. When you claim something, you have to prove it, and I think this is how the market is getting more coherent and more robust. And there has been a lot of debate in the past whether the prices will come down, and through my presentation I will explain how this is a completely purely technical presentation with a lot of mixtures and doses of thought process into this, and this will be completely different of what has been spoken as of now. You have heard about EESL. I think this is my duty to tell you this is a public sector enterprises with the equity participation from NTPC, REC, PFC and Power Grid, and we're doing a lot of demand side measures innovations. For example, you have heard about municipal DSM, and you have heard about the DEL program, the agriculture DSM program, all the part of this activity under the concept of Super ESCO. I will not take much time on this slide because Mr. Saurabh Kumar has very clearly explained. It is also interesting, let me tell you, when this committee was getting formed, and both Dr. Mathur and Mr. Saurabh Kumar helped created one committee called the under the NMCC, National Manufacturing Competitive Council, through which the CIM was created, and that led, and I remember very clearly they said we will take out the standard in 4 years. The BI said, and they said the industry and the B and the stakeholders said no, it's too long, we will take out in 8 months. And that is, I think, one of the fastest standard ever created under the BIS mandate. Now this you have already seen. This is the street lighting opportunity. If you look at the consumption of 2012-13, which is growing at the CAGR of 7%, I think there is a potential of about 55% energy saving through retrofits of LEDs. And by people also mentioned about the about intelligent management system, and you have seen under various stalls that this is really truly possible. And saving of 5 million kilowatt hour is possible, and the cost saving of about 25,000 crores annually. I think this is the point to be made, that the government schemes need to come out where the intervention of such type of magnitude is possible, and then the acceleration shall happen at every municipality. Now I am am taking the chart, I am taking a completely tangential stance into my presentation. Having said so, this is I am talking about 2010, the first bulb in Dr. Mathu's room is still there, which is a 1200 rupee lamp. A 7 watt lamp costing 1200 rupees, which we have got in 2010. And today, day for yesterday, the same bulb has costed 204 rupees. You heard the number just a while ago. And similarly, when we talked about street lighting, what we were talking of a 250 watt replacement of 120 watt lamp, it was being sold in 2010 at rupees 540 per watt. It has come down to 150 per watt. Now people are saying this is exorbitantly low and the prices are coming out dramatically low. In my opinion, this is not so. This is a normal trend. I have seen that this is bound to happen, and I will prove theoretical and concrete data that this is what we talked about. We assume this is going to happen, but we expected that the growth and the pace of it will happen. So you have an exciting time ahead, because the prices are going to come down further, and I will say so why. So the key issues for discussion I am putting forward is what is the market response, and people are talking about efficacy in terms of lumens, price, lifetime, warranty, and what are the market interventions really required. Look at these two numbers and the two figures. These are the figures of 2010, which are the LED efficacy projection of both low, medium and high CRI products. If you look at efficacy in terms of lumens per watt, it's bound to increase over a period of time. We have seen, I remember, it was a 70 lumens per watt product when we started making a standard, and today the normal product standard is about 160 lumens per watt. You get the same chip easier and less cheaper compared to a chip which is 120 lumens per watt. I am not a great advocacy of a company, but you go out in the market and you will find what I am speaking is true. Because the people are adopting, this is an innovation which is happening day in and day out. So lumens efficacy is when we talked about, so possibly when we are talking about a 7 watt 600 lumens bulb, maybe a day after it will be a 5 watt bulb with 600 lumens. So I think the question is, we are a very, very interesting cusp of the things when people are talking about innovations. Look at the price projection. We also thought that the price, this is not a graph which was created yesterday. This is a 2010 graph talking about the projections of the LED prices and the lumens efficacy over the lifetime till 2030. Look at the prices. People do expect that the prices will drop down. And to my utter surprise, this is not the nadir. It is at the middle of the entire pricing revolution that it is happening today. So you can, and my projection is at the next festive season, we are going to see some interesting trends, and possibly the intervention of the BIS and IT and B as well as EESL. The prices are going to be very, very interesting for the consumer. To my whole interesting knowledge, the winner at the end of the day is the consumer, because he is going to really get energy efficiency at his doorstep. And therefore, look at the pricing, both in terms of the chip efficacy as well as LED price projection. There is a definite dominance of the reduction of prices over a period of time. We have projected it, and it is happening now. This is called the Hayes law, and many of you might not have heard about it. This is the LED light output increasing versus cost decreasing. This is again a graph where for even chip efficacy, the price is predicted per lumens of watt has to come down. And it is not going to happen today, it's going to happen till 2015. And in all probabilities, when you talk about chips, the chip efficacy is bound to get very, very exciting in the time to come till 2016-17. We have only heard the mid-power LEDs or the low-power LEDs at this moment in time in India. I think the time is coming where the high-power LEDs will walk in, and you will never notice about it. So question is, how are we going to tackle about it? I know this is a very difficult task. People are trying to focus that the imitation jewelry should not come in. When we talk of imitation jewelry, what type of chip are we really prescribing into the product? The consumer doesn't know. So how do we test it? I think the time is when we are really looking at in terms of lumen efficacy and the pricing point of good quality products. I have defined a new terminology. People do compare the the lumens efficacy of a watt of a bulb of an incandescent lamp versus a CFL and a LED lamp. So I am defining this is the cost of light, and the cost of light is the lamp lumens measured in terms of lumens, and it is determined in terms of per kilo lumens hours in terms of rupee terms. And I will in the next slide explain how incandescent versus LED do makes a choice for consumers. You remember this formula, and you will find that the lamp cost plus labor cost for incandescent bulb is about 17 rupees, lifetime is about a year, 1000 hours, and energy use, energy cost can be easily seen if you want to find about a product. Look at the cost of light. If you look at an ICL, it's a lamp lumen about 900, 17 rupees the labor cost, lifetime of 1 year, and energy use about 60 watt, energy cost is about 5 rupees, and total about 2.87 rupees per kilowatt per hour for the life cost of light for the incandescent. Look at the LED. And why I am saying lifetime, if 1000 hours is the lamp incandescent lamp life, 50,000 hours is the life of the or the LED lamp, and you multiply, you will see the ratio is the ratio of 1:6. It means for all probability the cost of light, if you measure in terms of the kilolumens, the LED lamp is definitely far superior to incandescent. If you measure the same number for CFL, possibly the ratio of 1:3 will hold true. I think we need to understand that the jargon today of the market is that the people are not talking in terms of scientific facts. You need to bring scientific. I understand that the awareness is one of the key important criteria of educating customers. Consumers do want information. Somebody talked about the lighting impacts on the birds and the noxious. Mr. Jain talked about it. I think it's important. We need to define standard for it. I remember when we started talking about the DEL program, there was an interesting article in the paper asking that the LEDs cause harm to the eyes. This was the first ET issue which was raised with the Chief Minister's office, and it took us about 10 days to evade the fact of this imported by using a standard 16108. Photobiological safety, I think the technical committee within the BIS and the stakeholder did a wonderful job. They understood that the Indian consumers have all sort of questions, I would say idiotic questions, because in order to derail the process and to push a particular technology for time to come, we definitely make sure that we ask certain questions from the in front of the consumers. We want to derail them. We will say the cost is too high. In my opinion, if you are getting a 200 rupee 7 watt 60 watt bulb, if you talk about larger paybacks, which Dr. Mathur mentioned, people never get excited about it. It is only during the 2-3 year payback consumer find there is something exciting for him. You say this payback is 7 years, he will say, okay, I will wait for the next 3 years, let the technology evolve. It doesn't happen that way. So if you look at the residential market, say for example 20% penetration, if you give him a 2-year warranty, maybe the market will penetrate for 20% only. And if you increase the warranty size, the penetration goes down. The question is, consumer understand if it's an evolving technology, larger warranty may not work for him favorably. Therefore, bringing down the prices in the shorter run is an immediate goal. The more prices become aggressive, consumer adaptation will be faster, because then he can adapt to your product. If you give him a 7 watt bulb with a 4-year warranty, and after 4 months, you always get cheated, because when you buy a new car in December, and which is an old model, and the model changes with some new feature in January, you always feel cheated. Is it not? Am I right? So therefore, it is the same thing which is going to hold true even in case of lighting. Because it is not the same incandescent or the tube light or the downlighter which I have been using for years to come. It is innovation which is taking shape today. And innovation cannot be probated at the end of 1-2. I think the role I wanted to describe is that in this longer and the tedious journey, everybody has to hold hands with each other. I can't say this is only a manufacturer who will do this. It is the small, medium and large who has to collectively hold hands together. If you look at the India's market size, 46% of the revenue also comes from the SME sector. They also contribute to a large chunk from the GDP. So this is one area where the concentration of both large, medium and smaller enterprises, when you talk of LED products, will going to be very hold true in the time to come. Now, this is another topic which you have given me. This is about the decorative lighting. In the topic which you have prescribed, Mr. Gupta is also one of these. You have seen this picture number of times. This is Akshardhan temple. What is great about it? Because this temple was designed in 5 years ago with LED lighting. And you wait for the LED lighting to see till the time the night happens. Why? Because you find it very interesting. You find there is some building which is getting decorated. I deliberately chose this topic as part of the architectural lighting. This is something which is happening right across about 5 kilometers away from this place. Look at the another one. This is the Bandra Worli ceiling. At the time of inauguration, this was the picture. It is not so today. It is dark. It is not as brightly lit as it was on the first day. The reasoning is, over a period of time, we forgot how to light up the monumental structures. I know the Department of Architecture has taken a very strong view on this and trying to modify this, but in my opinion, there are a lot of architecture designers in this room and people who can do about it, and this area is completely a miss in the current context. Everybody travels to London and go to Piccadilly Circus. Why? Because it's a happening street. And everybody wants to go to New York and wants to go to Times Square. Why? It is a happening street. Give me a street in Delhi which is happening. It's not. I think therefore, we need to make this building happening. We have a beautiful Connaught Place and we have a Rahagiri, and now we need to make this building as a happening place. I always believe that if you have a large hoarding on the walls of Jeevan Bharati which give the picture of India cricket test match, hardly there will be any place for vehicles to walk. To play, I'm sorry. And people will be full of people, because then you will be able to watch the cricket match together as a national team. So I think the point is, when you look at the LED as an integration, you go to any place in the world. I've been to Ganjao and I've seen how beautiful the buildings have been made and architecturally designed to give a flavor to the people, how it will rationalize with the taste and the mood around. We have seen what mood lighting is doing in many stalls. If you go to the Philips stall, you have seen how mood lighting works. And I think this time has come that we start integrating all this into our process of government procurement. You have seen Mr. Saurabh Kumar has shown you these pictures. And I think this is very interesting because we have found in most of the demo projects that we have really been able to impress upon people how LED is a new and evolving technology and do give a lasting impression when it comes to delivery of lighting output. So I think this is what I sum up in my presentation, and thank you very much. And I must thank Mr. Deepak Gupta from Sourcing and Electrical and various stakeholders, particularly Elcoma and Philips, Bridgelex, Instapower, Panasonic, who have been part of this workshop, who have given this opportunity for me to speak here and address to all of you. Thank you for your patience, Mr.